Aero bikes. They're fast, they're sexy, they're kind of heavy, and you have to have one in order to be cool. Okay, so you don't have to have one in order to be cool, and there are some downsides to owning an aero bike, such as the weight penalties. But today what I want to go over are my top 5 picks for the best budget aero bikes that there are out there. Now, when I say budget, these are still going to be a little bit in the pricier range, ranging from about $3,000 to $5,000. But as a rule for this video, we're going to keep everything under $5,000. With the price of modern aero bikes being able to go up to $10,000, $11,000, $12,000, $13,000, $14,000 for a top-of-the-line model, what I want to present to you here are a couple ones that you could pick for half of that price. Welcome back to Dobbs Cycle Works, and yes, my name is Dobbs. Today we are talking about aero bikes, and the first one at the number 5 spot up on our list is going to be the Cervelo Soloist. Now, the Soloist is not the flagship aero model from Cervelo. That would be the S5 that we see Jumbo-Visma riding on. But the Soloist is still an aero bike nonetheless, and it's kind of a mix of their technologies between their lighter weight climbing bikes and their aero bikes, so it is kind of a nice bridge there. Now, if we take a look down here at the line, they can be very expensive. They can be up $6,800 for those, but we can come down just a little bit over here if we want to go for options like Shimano Ultegra R8000 or Shimano 105 R7000. These are both going to be mechanical group sets, so they are not going to be electronic at all. But I still think they have a viable place in the market, especially for those of us that are more so day-to-day kind of riders than actual professional racers. Specifically, what I want to take a look at is the Ultegra one right here. Let's get that guy a little bit centered up and come down to the build specs. Now, we do have a range of 6 sizes, that is pretty standard across the board from a 48 to a 61, so generally pretty good size range, nothing too big, so if you are, over about 6'4" or so, you might need to look elsewhere. But other than that, the package is pretty good. It does come with an FSA headset in there. It does come with Fulcrum Racing 600 dBs. Those aren't bad wheels by any means, but those are kind of ones that you would want to switch out and then put on some nicer wheels for when you're actually going out for big rides or something like that. But they're not terrible wheels. You're not going to have to replace them immediately. They're going to be a little sluggish though, so that's just something to look into going right into it. It is going to come with an Ultegra R8000 crank, since it is Ultegra R8000 on the entire bike. Now, as we've mentioned in previous videos with the entire recall going on, if it is something that does concern you, you can always just change the crank out with something like a rotor or anything, third party that you want to go with, and really just kind of be fine, because the rest of the group set, as we've seen, has been more or less kind of completely fine. So I think it is still a good option to go with. It is going to come with a Selle Italia saddle on it, which I think are fantastic saddles. You wouldn't have to really replace that unless you want to, or you feel like you have something that you're a little bit more comfortable with. Perfectly fine. It is up to everybody what kind of saddle they do use, but they are starting you out with a pretty good one. I do like this gold finish. I think it is pretty cool, but when you ride a gold bike, it's one of those things you gotta kind of back up with some actual speed that I probably don't really have. The black doesn't look bad either, but when you consider some of their other bikes, like the Caledonia with this gorgeous finish that it has on that, that's probably what, if I'm gonna buy a Cervelo, I'm probably going for that first. But since this is our budget aero bike list, I will firmly put that one at number 5 and feel pretty good about that. I think that is a fantastic bike. Now, moving on to number 4, and what we have here from Belgian bicycle maker Ridley is going to be the Noah disc. Now, they do have the Noah Fast disc. This is going to be better carbon. It is going to be their more kind of pro-angled bike market that they're looking for on that one, whereas the Noah disc is going to be kind of that mid-range that more experienced riders will feel comfortable on, but it's not going to break the bank in terms of getting a really good bicycle for a really good price. This is a full carbon frame. All of these are going to be full carbon frames. It does come in the 6 ranges of sizes from XXS to XL. Those are going to roughly translate to about a 48 to a 61, so pretty much the same thing we were seeing on the Cervelo. Now you do have a couple different finish options here, and there are some really good looking ones. There is this all black with kind of the white stripes there. I really enjoy that one. We also have this one right here that is just absolutely gorgeous and clean, but my personal favorite is if we come over here to this blue, red, and gold. I think that is absolutely fantastic. They do also have a customizer where you can do custom paint jobs and everything. And right here, something that I really like about it is that you can choose between your different group sets. And even going with 105 2x11 speed or 2x12, you're gonna be paying the same price, and it's gonna take it down quite a bit. If we look at something like the old Tegra R8000, like we were seeing before on the Cervelo as well, it is gonna come with a rotor crank on there, so you wouldn't even really have to worry about switching the crank out. I think this is an absolutely fantastic bike. What it's gonna lose some point on is it is a little bit heavy, and it is gonna come with some really doofy, shallow wheels that I would probably go on and replace almost immediately. But I think overall, the bike itself really does fit in very well at our number 4 spot. And I've test ridden a couple different Noahs in the past, and I've always loved them. The one that I really test rode and stood out and I really considered buying was, it was so stiff and it felt so reactive. It was a great bike. So I think at this price point, it really is something that you should look into, because even with the Ultegra, it's coming in at $4,499. The conversion of that from euros to dollars, let's do that real quick. 4,599 euro to USD is going to come at 4,860. So it's still under that $5,000 limit, but it is going to be a little bit more pushing it. You can then also switch down to like the 105. 105 is a perfectly great group set. I think people should stick with 105. It is solid and it's easy to work on. That's what will give it some good points in my book, is the value that you can get by going with a 105 on this bike. So that we're putting that firmly at the number 4 place, and I'm very happy with that decision. Coming up next at number 3, a company that I have had long contentions with because I love them so much and I want them to be good. But it is from Bianchi, and Bianchi has had some great aero bikes across the years. No, it is not going to be the Oltre RC, which is a hideous piece of trash. The Oltre Pro, which is also a hideous piece of trash. No, not even the Oltre Comp, which is slightly better looking, but still hideous trash. I wish it were the Oltre Race, which came out earlier this year and promised to be a more affordable version of the newer Oltre models with a very light frame set, great group set options, and unfortunately, it is not available in America. So we can't even get it here, which I think is an absolute shame, because that is a good looking bike. What we're going to be looking at from Bianchi, we're going to keep scrolling, keep going till we get down here to the Oltre XR3. Now this might surprise some of you, because the Oltre 3, the XR3, is quite a few years old at this point, but that's the reason it's making the list, because this is, you could call it outdated, even though it's not really. It's still a very viable road bike for even, I would say, you could race on this thing. And if we take a little bit closer look at it, this Oltre XR3 comes with Chorus 12 speed. So yes, you are getting a Campagnolo group set with this bike, despite the fact that the pictures still show Ultegra. This one is Chorus 12 speed, so it is coming with Campagnolo, and it is marked down from $5,500 to $4,499. Because it is an older model, you're getting a pretty good discount on that, and you are getting a lot of bike for a very good price. It is, if we take a closer look down here, it is coming with Campagnolo Chorus 12 speed across the board pretty much there. For wheels, we are getting Fulcrum Racing 400 DBs, which are a little bit better than the DB 600s, the Fulcrums that we saw on the Cervelo, so you're getting a little bit better wheels. Probably still would upgrade them after a certain point and get something a little bit nicer, but they're not bad wheels to start with. One thing I do really love about this bike right out the gate is it does come with a Physique Antares, which is the saddle that I prefer to ride. So I would love that, getting it right off the showroom floor and having my saddle ready to go already on it in the color scheme available. I think that is just fantastic. It's not a bad looking bike at all either. I do prefer older Bianchi design, but This one is pretty stunning, and I've seen them in person too, and they look so much better in person than they do on pictures. You do get the options of this one with some of the Celeste peeking out there. I do, like I was saying, would prefer more Celeste on the bike. Maybe some yellow too, you know, when you guys made cool looking bikes, maybe do that. But this is what we have. We have this finish with the Celeste peeking out, or this one that literally looks just like a straight black and white picture of the same bike. I think that may have been how they actually designed it. They just went, oh, make it black and white, because it looks like a noir film. Not bad looking, but if you're getting it, you have to go with the Celeste. Since it is a Bianchi also, you gotta go with Campagnolo. You can't put a Japanese group set on an Italian bike. It's not right. Okay, it's perfectly fine, but you should get it with Campagnolo given the options that you have here. I would say the XR3, if you're gonna go with the Bianchi, that is the way to go to get it with Campagnolo Chorus 12 speed. Coming up at our number 2 spot, and this one is a shout out for my good buddy Judge. You should all follow him right down here. I'll put his information for you. He has lots of great bike content, but this was a bike that he was very excited for, so I wanted to put this at number 2. It is the Orbea Orca Aero, the brand new one, and let's take a little look at it here because it is hideous. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think it's a good looking bike. I think it's kind of ugly, but the package that you do get with this bike is second to, well, I guess 1 since it's number 2 here, but it is a fantastic bike. I think you would be really great going off with this. My brother has an older Orbea and he absolutely loves it. The Euskaltel Euskadi Orbea Orca from about 2006-2007 is still one of my all-time favorite bikes that has ever been created. Orbea has a long history of making some absolutely fantastic bikes, and I don't think they have skipped any corners here on this one. Comes with like the Aero bottle and everything. It's kind of slick looking. I'm liking it. And if we take a little bit closer look at this bike and what you can do, we are seeing a range of sizes from 47 to 60, kind of similar to what we're seeing across the board. They do go in the middle sizes, so 49, 51, 53, 55, 57. A little bit different than some of the other nomenclatures that we do see with sizing bikes. Now you can select your different group sets that you have here and even some of the details within them, like the crank size. So they have 2 options here for 105, one with a 36 by 52 and one with a 34 by 50 for your chain ring. So that's kind of a really nice little feature. You can even add a power meter to it if you would like, which does drive the price up just a little bit, but we're starting at a pretty good price to begin with. So you do have a little bit of freeway to get something like that. We're starting here at $4,299. It's really not that bad of a price. One thing I would add right out the gate is the Vittoria Corsa Next tires. I just think they are fantastic. And look at this just makes me happy. You can pick a Physique Antares as your saddle. That just makes it perfect for me. So I do think this is a great bike to have here at the number 2 spot. I do believe you can also customize these as well, which probably would put it over the $5,000, but I think standard, just kind of doing a little bit of customization here, you could end up with a very, very great looking bike. They do also have it in this color here, which has some great little accents that I think are just kind of cool. I may get tired of them after a while, so I'd probably go with this. I guess they're calling it an olive and slate color, but I think it looks really fantastic. And now, before moving on to our final pick, I want to give an honorable mention to this one right here. This is the Merida Reacto 5000. Now, it does come here in the Bahrain Victorious color scheme, which I think is probably one of the greatest looking Pro Tour bikes that is around today. This isn't the top of the line model, it just kind of has that paint job on it, which is why I'm kind of putting it at this honorable mention spot. It is a very, very affordable bike, pricing starting around about $3,200, The problems being is that the rest of the finishing kit is a little lackluster. You're getting kind of a cheapo stem and handlebar combo that's in-house up here. You're getting some doofy, heavy Merida wheels that are in-house. You're getting this Shimano crank right here that they normally put on lower entry-level road bikes that you would probably need to replace immediately. The rest of the group set is Shimano Ultegra R8000, so for just over $3,000, you're getting a lot of bike here. But since they also are a little bit harder to find, especially in local stores, I don't even believe if they do sell in local stores. I've never really seen them around. You do have to order them online, which could lead to import fees, bumping up the price quite a bit. But if you do find something like this for a great deal and it's what your heart is set on, I say get it, because that is just gorgeous. And coming in at our number one spot, the apple of my eye for a long time, the one I am looking to buy myself, the Canyon Aeroad CF SL 8. Now, this is the intro to the Aeroad lineup, so it's not going to be going 10,000, 12,000 like some of their other Aeroad models, including the supersonic weeb machine here. This is the Aeroad CF SL 8, so it is the intro line. Now, some of the things you may notice right out the gate is it does not have full internal cable routing. Canyon says this doesn't really change that much of a difference in terms of aero benefits. It has to do something, or they wouldn't really tell us that. But for people like me that are really just kind of looking for a great bike to enjoy for a long time that does have some more modern fixtures to it or has a little bit more of a modern feel, I think this is the way you should go. $3,999. Now, it does have import fees because Canyon does not retail in stores. They are direct to consumer, which means they can lower prices down a little bit more, and this is what we kind of end up with. Any other company, this bike would be much, much more expensive, but Canyon's able to keep it nice and low because of that direct-to-consumer. Now, some of the things that we are seeing on it, it is Ultegra R8000, like several of the other bikes on this list, and you might be wondering to yourself why I would put this one at number one if it does have the exact same group set. Well, the reason goes with the rest of the finishing kit, because you are getting DT Swiss wheels, really nice deep section carbon wheels right out the box. Right when you assemble this, those are the wheels that it is coming with. So that, to me, is a major benefit to this bike here. The Ultegra R8000, as we mentioned, with the recall going on, you would probably want to change that crank out to something like a rotor, or maybe something like that. Or make sure to get it inspected and checked out regularly just to make sure everything's going okay. I still think that Ultegra R8000 is a wonderful group set. I think the overall group set is fantastic, despite the delamination problems we have seen with these cranks. I think you still would be very good to go with a bike like this. And one of the reasons that the majority of these bikes do not have even a Di2 option that we're talking about is because I think for the majority of us, Di2 is a little much. I think that if you are the standard, regular, day-to-day rider, you don't really need Di2. And a lot of you may say, but I want it, and that's cool, you can get that. But if you go with something like this, with a mechanical group set like these Ultegras or the 105s, what you're gonna be getting is a group set that you can work on, which down the road could end up saving you hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Di2 and AXS and EPS, they have a lot of issues that can only be fixed by certified mechanics, and that can be very, very difficult to try to figure out on your own. It could end up with your bike in the shop quite a bit more. And me personally, I would rather just get on the bike and ride. I don't want to deal with software updates and charging batteries because it's a bicycle. That's what I want. I want a machine that takes me and makes it go zoom. That's what I want in a bike, and that is what I think this does absolutely perfect. It does come in this team replica, the Alpecin Phoenix, which it doesn't really look like a team replica, which is, I think, what I like about this one so much over the Merida, is that it does just look like a gorgeous bike with some wonderful blue accents. It doesn't really have Alpecin Phoenix broadcast all over it everywhere. It is a fantastic looking bike from any angle there is, and this, I think, is just the best that you can do for a budget aero bike. If you want to be successful one thing to do is to learn how to do your own maintenance. And that is an invaluable skill that will put you so much higher over the rest, regardless of what you're wanting to do. If you're just wanting to take some KOMs every couple weeks on your local Strava group, or if you're wanting to do crit racing, if you're wanting to do any of it, I think this bike stands out above and beyond the rest. Everything that I have heard about this bike says that it is an aero bike that feels more like a sprinting climbing bike, and especially coming in at only 7.82 kilograms. It's not a featherweight, it's not a chunky boy either. It's right there in a perfect balance. And you could even lower that a little bit more with some upgrades to the wheels or something. These DT Swiss are very good, but they are not perfect. I still think overall, I'm very confident in picking this for my #1 spot. But yeah, let us know down in the comments if you would pick something different, if you think I should have gone with some other bikes, which ones you would switch out, and just, yeah, let us know down there. If you're not like and subscribed yet, go ahead and do so, because I'm going to be having lots of videos coming out more like this very soon. And other than that, take care, safe riding. Check us out next time. See you then. Bye.